Today I'm going to be talking about the fantasy books that I would like to read in 2018. I made this same type of video last year, and it was a really big list of books. I didn't end up reading all of them. I did read some of them, but that's most likely going to happen this time as well. I'm going to be starting off with a pretty big list of fantasy books that I would like to read, but I'm most likely not going to get to every one of them. I'm the type of person that doesn't really stick by a TBR, so this is kind of a loose TBR, and I'm going to pick which ones I'll be reading out of these ones. Keep in mind, I will be reading other books on the side that aren't fantasy, but this video is just purely focused on the fantasy books that I want to read. Starting with the book I'm actually in the middle of reading, that is The Bear and the Nightingale by Katherine Arden. This book is just so beautiful, not just the cover, but the writing as well. It takes place in Russia, where it's basically snowing the majority of the year, and there is just a ton of Russian fairy tales mixed into this story, and I just love it. I'm really enjoying this book. Also, this book is just the perfect book to read in the winter. Next on this list is The Girl in the Tower, which is the sequel to The Bear and the Nightingale, and I plan on reading this right after I finish the first one. And next on the list is The Last Wish by Andrzej Zapowski, so I'm gonna have to read these ones soon. Yeah, it's 2018 and I just started reading it. I'm about 200 pages in and I'm really enjoying it. I don't know why I didn't read it before because it goes by really fast. For those of you that don't know, these are the books that the Witcher games are inspired from, and The Witcher 3: A Wild Hunt is one of my favorite games of all time. Now, if you played the games don't follow the story that's in the books, so it's really refreshing to go to the source content and read through this. It still follows the main character, Geralt, and it still has a lot of the same monsters, and it's in the same world, but it is so refreshing. There's so many fun adventures, and my friend over on the channel, Elliot Brooks, is currently hosting a read-along for this series, which is the reason why I started reading it right now, so you can definitely go and join that. And of course, even if you haven't played the games, you're not going to be lost when you read the books, because the games are completely different. And also, Season of Storms, the 8th book in the Witcher series, is coming out on April 19th. I probably won't be able to get caught up to all 7 books before then, but I will definitely try and get a big chunk out of the series read. Next up is The Black Prism by Brent Weeks, and I also own the second book, The Blinding Knife, and I'm just dying to read these books. Yeah, I still haven't read this book. I am a big fan, though, of Brent Weeks' Night Angel trilogy, so I do know that I'm going to enjoy this one. I just need to find the time to read it, because they are all very thick books. I believe there's 4 in the series. Honestly, I'm trying to keep this book a bit of a secret. I don't really know that much about it, except for that there's a magic system where people have different powers based on different colors, and there's one man named the Prism who has all of these colors, all of these powers, and yeah, it sounds really interesting. The Lies of Lamora by Scott Lynch. This is a book that I should have read a long time ago, so I know I should get to this one soon as well. It's probably the next big fantasy series on my list. No, it wasn't. It wasn't the next one on my list, because I still haven't read this series. However, the 4th book, The Thorn of Emberlane, is coming out on September 20th of this year, so I'm hoping I'll be able to get all 3 of these read before the 4th book comes out. The Shadow of What Was Lost by James Islington. Now, right on the front, it says that lovers of the Wheel of Time series will enjoy this book, and I'm currently reading the first Wheel of Time book, and so far I'm loving it, so I'm really hoping that I'll enjoy this book as well. Now, this book takes place 20 years after these angelic-like beings called the Augurs came down and were slain and killed. After these beings were slain, the servants that followed them, called the Gifted, were allowed to live, but they had to very, very much limit their powers. And I believe the main character is one of these Gifted. He has the same abilities as the Augurs. Obviously, I haven't read it yet, so I'm not entirely sure what it's about, but that's what it sounds like from the back of the book, and it sounds really interesting. I'm definitely intrigued since it's been getting a lot of praise from a lot of fantasy authors. Also, the 3rd and final book, The Light of All That Falls, is coming out on August 7th, so I'm hoping I'll be able to read that this year as well. And since I mentioned Wheel of Time there, I might as well say that I'm reading The Eye of the World by Robert Jordan, which is the 1st book in the Wheel of Time series. I'm definitely going to be finishing this book this year. I find it kind of a comfort read. It feels really similar to Tolkien's books, and I just really love that. I love the old school fantasy world, but it still feels really unique to me in a lot of ways. So I'm hoping I'll even be able to get to the 2nd or 3rd book this year. Next up is Spinning Silver by Naomi Novik. This book comes out on July 10th, and it is about a young girl named Miriam, and she lives in a family of moneylenders. Her grandfather and her fathers have all been moneylenders, and one day her father gives her the job of going to collect the money, but she comes back with a bag full of gold instead of silver, and it turns out that she can turn silver into gold. There's also some, evil creature things in the forest. That doesn't really matter. I mean, she can turn silver into gold. Silver into gold. Naomi also wrote the book Uprooted, which I haven't read, but I have heard a lot of great things about it. I would also really like to read some more Brandon Sanderson. I'm thinking of reading the second generation Mistborn books, but I might also go to The Way of Kings by Brandon Sanderson, because I hear this series is even better than the Mistborn series. It's definitely a thick book, but I love thick fantasy books, and I've heard a lot about this series. I think I'm going to enjoy it. A lot of people have recommended it to me. Thank you guys for watching this video. Feel free to comment down below if you plan on reading any of these books, or if you have any other recommendations for me. I would love to hear them. And yeah, if you like this video, feel free to like, comment, and subscribe, and hit the bell button if you want to be notified for when I upload, and I will see you guys next time.